Hi, I'm so excited to have you here. Today we're going to talk to Polly. She's from Maybe. She's doing some amazing things with AI, but I'm going to leave her to kind of give us the rundown about who you are and kind of what you do. Hi, Polly.
Hey Jack, how are you? Great to be
Fantastic.
here. Yeah, so I'm the CEO of Maybe, a platform that enables any size of business to safely and securely deploy AI. And we're super excited with the opportunities in front of us and look forward to telling you more.
Fantastic. Yeah, I thought obviously everyone's talking about AI, everyone's talking about how you can use AI in your business. And when I came upon Maybe, I thought this is definitely something more people should know about. But let's dive into it. Like, what inspired you to start working in AI in your business? Was there a specific moment that made you realize it, or how did you get into it?
That's a great question. I've always been a kind of data kind of girl. So I previously ran a startup that enabled business people to raise money for 160,000 charities. So I've always been into data. And about 6 years ago, when I started Maybe, we won a government contract that we had to listen to 3.9 million businesses in the UK and tell the government how people felt across 3,600 high streets or something. So we used AI to do that. And that was 6 years ago. So we've got a great team who are good with data and love AI. And as a result of that contract, we ended up training 25,000 businesses to help them better at social media. And it's really interesting how actually a lot of the questions were the same. And the biggest problem was, how do I create content that sounds like me? So we started using our AI skills to do that, but we were making them internal. They were internal tools. And then around the time that ChatGPT launched, which we've got to remember is only just over 2.5 years ago, it's quite incredible. It's only 2.5 years ago, that I thought there's got to be a better way. We need to turn these tools that we're using internally into something that any business could use. And so our vision now is we are really focused on building AI Lego bricks so that anybody can deploy AI safely and securely. We've got to all accept that in every business there's a messy, steaming pile of data and there's a messy, steaming pile of brand. And AI can make it, it can make it so much easier. I'm quite obsessive, and I love trying to sort of simplify complexity. And my pet phrase of the team is, let's make it falling off a log simple.
That's exactly what we need at this point because it's becoming such a chaotic kind of environment with different agents. Every week there's a new thing being launched, there's a new variation, and then you have all your unstructured. But yeah, we'll get into all of that.
It's a mind blow. It's so big. And the worst thing about it is everyone makes it sound so easy, and it's not. Honestly, it's not. You
Yeah.
need yeah.
Yeah, that's the weirdest thing. Like everyone keeps saying that AI is going to replace them, but it's just you have access to information. It's like saying if you had the checklist that a pilot would use to fly a plane, like you can fly a plane. It's not that simple. Yes, you have access to the information, but you need that depth of knowledge, and that kind of takes me into. I know you said that AI isn't going to replace us or isn't going to replace people, but people who use AI will. So why don't you expand a little bit on that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think of it like the difference between the first cars and modern Formula One racing. When cars first appeared, people had to walk in front of them with a red flag because people worried that they weren't safe. And people worried that horse trainers would lose their jobs. But actually, what happened is we created an entirely new industry and roles, and it's created massive employment. And the people who embrace cars gain mobility and efficiency and new opportunities, and they got there quicker. Pardon the pun. And so, right now, it's just the same with AI. People who learn to drive AI and use these tools in their business will lap their competitors. And with Maybe, we see it happening frequently. Marketeers who used to create one piece of content now can create 10. Caveat, not blah. You've got to learn to drive the tools in order to make sure it delivers you something that works. And data analysts, you could spend days creating a report that maybe actually nobody really looked at or understood. But with AI, you can now find out the nuggets that matter from that report. So AI isn't replacing them, it's supercharging them. Think of it as a tool that can help you do whatever job you do so much better. Think of the time you can get back. And the advantage gap between AI users and non-users is growing daily. Don't get left behind.
Yeah, that makes 100. Like I heard that there's even an AI now that takes your email or takes a PDF and then turns it into a podcast. Like it's two people talking with one another, and then you can interrupt them and go, sorry, did you just mention that this was actually happening? And it'll reply to you as if you're part of the podcast, which
Wow,
is,
that's neat.
it's ridiculous. Yeah. It sounds like a novelty, but then you start looking at it and you're like, yeah, this could actually work. Like you could have this on in the background while you're doing something else and then go, oh no. And then just have a conversation with an interpretation of the information. My head starts spinning when you put it like that. But perfect. Obviously, you've done a ton of research into different companies, you just said. What's one of the most interesting points that kind of came out of how people feel about AI and how to implement that in different companies?
Yeah, so we've interviewed about 500 businesses over the past few months around their views on AI. And the most surprising insight from that research is that it is not actually technical at all. It's much more emotional. It's much deeper than that. Almost every business leader is confessed after chatting to them that they felt overwhelmed and a sense of sort of AI FOMO, that fear of missing out. They feel like they listen to the news and look at their feeds and all they can see is AI. They feel like all their competitors are doing it faster than them, and they desperately want to keep up, but they're paralysed by just not knowing where to start. And as an AI solution ourselves, what's interesting for us is that when you go and talk to people about what they're going to do, they're still paralysed. So what's fascinating is how universal this is across all industries. It's whether you're the CEO of a 200-year manufacturing company or the founder of a 6-month-old tech business, they're still all saying, am I too late? Is my business going to be left behind? And that emotional reality isn't being discussed publicly at all, but it drives the urgency around AI adoption. And it's very much the sort of focus of maybe is helping businesses deploy AI by being approachable and honest, because the anxiety that's been created around AI is extreme and it's completely understandable, but the solution is much more human than you realise. And so I think the message is that, don't drop the FOMO, just focus on it's another tool that I need to understand how I make it work in my business, and don't be panicked. It's okay. We've got this.
You've put it in such an interesting context. And I can imagine, like, if you're a business owner, you're sitting there, and to use your car analogy, someone's telling you need to drive, but there's no one telling you how to drive. And you didn't get into business to drive somewhere, but you will go out of business if you don't. So I can imagine how stressful that can be. And that kind of brings me nicely into, like, your tool just kind of simplifies everything. Tell us a little bit about your specific solution, how that helps the business owner that's frantic, that knows they need to adopt something, but don't really have the time to stop working in their business and start working in AI.
So, we've touched on the fact there are so many tools out there, but we believe that you need your AI. You need your AI that is listening to your data, because AI is only as smart as the information you give it. But if you're going to give it your business data, you need to make damn sure that it's kept secret. So number one, maybe's product, your AI, puts your data in a safe place. We don't share your secrets with anybody else. We don't train you. None of the models get trained on your data. And that is an absolute business must. I think there's a real risk with lots of team members, if you like bringing their own AI to work. You've got to capture your data and make sure your secrets are safe. That's what we do. One. Number two, you can use all the LLMs on your data. You don't think, oh, should I be using OpenAI, Perplexity, or Claude? The answer is use all of them. But actually, if you pay a license for all of them so your data is secure, then it starts getting really costly. Whatever plan you're on with us, you can put your data in a safe place and you can use all the LLMs on it. We don't make you don't have to choose which one based upon what you ask. We choose the LLM that will answer that question better. So you haven't got to know what to do. It just does it for you. And then you can build agents that are connected to your data, but also external data sources. So, for example, you can build an agent that is connected to your Google Analytics or your Facebook, so that if you're asking to write something, it can write something as an expert copywriter, knowing your brand voice, knowing what your website says, knowing your products that you've uploaded to it, but also based upon how current customers are engaging with your content based upon real-time data. That's exciting, isn't it? So imagine your smartest team member could clone themselves and then work 24/7. That's what maybe is. If they've got access to, you can onboard somebody tomorrow and they've got access to all your business knowledge instantly, collaborate with the team. And that's essentially what we built.
Jeez, that sounds like paradise, because it can create content based on your information, but it can also answer questions based on the content that it created and your personal, like, that's insane. That's beautiful. It really sounds like the future.
Well, thank you. And it's what's I mean, what really is exciting is that we're focused on building all of the we call them plugins, but that means you can connect to over 2,000 platforms. So you can connect it to your HubSpot or your Zero or your Pipedrive or whatever business systems you're using. Think of us as a piece of middleware that sits in between your customer data and all your business systems, and it just means AI can learn and help you across all of it. It makes it easier to do your best work faster. That's it. That's it.
That sums it up beautifully. Wow. So with all the different features that you have, like which ones are the ones that your users absolutely freak out about? Which ones do they love the most?
Oh, that's a great question. It's really interesting as a technology company, you're told to just solve one problem, and we've ignored the rules. I'm quite a rule breaker, right? Because I think if every AI company just solves a narrow problem, actually every company is then going to buy 25 AI solutions, and it doesn't work because you don't want to give 25 AI companies all your data and hope that it's okay, because it's not okay. So we've taken the view that we are flat out building connections to all your business systems, because that means, I'll give some examples. We've got a guy who does insurance sales, and he's now got to the point where using your AI, he can simultaneously respond to 20,000 leads at a time and get them to book onto an appointment within 6 minutes from a Facebook ad. He said he's absolutely transformed his process. We're doing quite a lot of work in the insurance space because it's that whole speed to lead piece. But that's just one tiny piece of the business. We're working with estate agents to transform the people email in for a quotation, and there's a whole department that then has to respond to those quotations, request for quotation. It's not necessarily the quality of the quotation that gets the business, it's the speed of it, but it's got to be the right quotation. We're looking at how what we're doing is enabling them as an enterprise solution where it reads all the emails and it's using all of the quotations they've done over the last 5 years to create a quotation in real time and get it back to them immediately. Absolutely staggering. Other ones are e-commerce companies that they look at all of the data from the leading e-commerce brands. We did a report from at Christmas where they took all of the open rates, SMS content, ads, from Klaviyo to Google Analytics, combined it into one report. They said it cut about 70% of the manual work out of doing that report. Other end of the scale, we're working on a project with a council doing customer service in 10 different languages, for two sorts of Chinese, Urdu, but real-time support. And another real-time support one, actually, that's incredible for a coach. I think this is a use case that can be expanded massively, is that all of the support is now being managed by AI in Slack, taking their entire knowledge base, and then customers can get support back in 90 seconds. And their words are that it's about this whole business of being available, as a coach or any business, to be honest. The ability to deliver an immediate and perfect response to your customer is the best sales tool ever. And so, AI, if you've got your knowledge in whatever format, whether it's in a disparate set of knowledge bases or whether it's in video, you can train an AI to respond within 90 seconds, 24/7. And that's just staggering. The whole concept of being available 24/7 with good content. You imagine how many times you've sat on one of those dreadful calls where you have to press 1 or press 2 and then wait because no, we can't have you anyway. How frustrated you feel. If you can use AI to transform things like that, both ends of the customer journey, when they're coming into the business and when they're leaving the business, or they've got their question, but everything in the middle for the team to be able to get that same experience. The whole concept of being able to get to the right answer whenever is critical. Sorry, Jack, I'm rambling, but it excites me.
No, this is all fantastic information. Yeah, go for it.
The idea that you could have to choose 20, 30, 40 different AI solutions to do different bits of your business, or you take a much more holistic view, which is that you go, right, I'm going to ensure that one platform has got all my data, and that one platform will look after it securely, not share it with anybody. And then I can plug in all the tools I need that I'm currently using to run my business, but I can put this thin layer of AI between it. That's where transformation happens, because otherwise you just end up with another mess. You just end up with another bunch of systems you got to connect together, and they don't know what's going on. You have to feed your AI. You have to let your AI know everything about your business for it to be smart for you. And then something really magical can happen.
Yeah, 100%. And centralizing it, one of the things that that people kind of lose perspective of, is that also creates operational drag, because if you have new content, or if you pivot to a different kind of industry or anything like that, if you have 25, 26 different platforms, like you have to go and update that information. Like even if you want to go that route, like you have to update that information on all 26 effective databases. Whereas if you have that centralized in one place, you update it in one place, and everything gets fed from that one place. So that makes perfect sense.
Absolutely. It's also the cognitive load on your team. If you decide to go and get another 25 platforms, not only have you got to keep the brain up to date, but also it's the cognitive load on your team of remembering where to go. So the thing that we really focuses on is banishing the boring. When people go, "Oh, where should we start?" We always say, just focus on banishing the boring stuff. What's the thing? What's the stuff that sucks your team's time? What's the repetitive stuff that they do? What's the stuff that actually their job, that their world would be better if they didn't have to do? Because you've also got to get past this whole thing of, hey, I was going to take my job. It's not going to take your job, but you need to approach it sensitively with your team. So the question is, what's the thing that takes too much time that we do the same every time? Because AI does that so well. Customer service is one of those, but quotation writing, proposal writing, all that stuff that sucks time. AI can do a first draft really well, and you'll get to a point where then it will spit out the final thing. But it's like anything, it takes time to train it.
Yeah, 100%. And then humans can focus on building relationships, because yeah, the boring stuff and the admin stuff has already been taken care of. That makes sense. So let's think, like, what is your next big milestone? What does 2025 look like for maybe?
So we are at the moment we're really focused on landing some big logos, because it's about going back to that FOMO piece. It's about being able to demonstrate how big brands are doing this, what they can do, and at the same time we're enabling thousands of businesses to deploy their own AI agents. So we've got both an enterprise end and a self-serve end, supported by training throughout the middle. For us, it's about impact and about being able to share the stories of how all sorts of businesses are using AI to do better business, serve customers better, whilst also maintaining their teams, and giving everybody a better world. It's about the impact, and we measure it by how many hours we give back to businesses. So our current users save an average of 22 hours per week per team, and at scale, that's billions of hours redirected from mundane tasks to innovation, growth, and that whole concept of banish the boring. My other pet project at the moment, which I'm really excited about, is developing synthetic crowds. Imagine everything you do, and this is part of testing the AI that is doing work for you, is being able to say, is this, so Jack, for your example, you could run this podcast through a synthetic crowd and go, is it any good? Is our audience going to like it? And you can run an email, a proposal, and we've done this with grants, actually works really well. Run it through and say, what will the assessor think? And this whole concept of building synthetic crowds for ads, for proposals, for emails, and making that work in real time. So you've got somebody sat next to you all the time going, hey, that's going to be better. This is better for this audience. I think it's really exciting. So that's one of the things we're really focused on, apart from growth for 2025.
That is fantastic. Yeah, creating that simulation so that when you go into a pitch, or you go into with the proposal, you know that it's going to hit the right notes, instead of going, yeah, I know I put in all the effort and I have all the boxes ticked. It kind of adds that different dimension to it.
And often
That's beautiful.
it takes seconds. That's a crazy thing. And you look at it, you think, oh, for heaven's sake, I can see that. And how many times have we all done that? How many times have we gone into a pitch or delivered a board report and come out thinking, oh, why didn't I think of that first? And this makes it possible for you to miss that. You don't miss the obvious guff that you've made because you've run it through a synthetic crowd first.
That's obviously a different kind of use case for AI, but what in terms of the landscape, what do you see as the next kind of big thing that's going to be happening?
So if we go back to the whole thing of where people are right now, because again, for anybody listening to this, you can get back into that whole FOMO of, oh my goodness, everybody else is doing this and I'm not. Honest truth, people aren't. People are talking about it. Lots of people are not yet really deploying. So if you're thinking about where to start, the first thing I'd say is just talk to your team and say, what is the thing that is repetitive and boring that you don't like doing? It might not sound very trending, but for example, if reporting consumes a whole team's week or a whole team's Thursday, just start there. Because if you do something for your business that means the team think, oh my goodness, AI is something that makes me do my job better. You will deliver a transformation faster than you possibly imagine. We've got exactly the same thing happening right now in quite a large organisation where there's quite a lot of resistance. And now we've shown them how one task that was just not getting done, but it was blocking the entire business, how AI can do that. That it's transformational. So that's number one. And then the second thing that a business that's starting to integrate AI should do is do a knowledge audit. Make sure that your knowledge is in a safe place. Make sure it's together, because your competitive advantage is the combination of your team's brains. So get all those scattered documents together, and because that's the brain you want to give to AI. Remember, AI knows everything on the web. What it doesn't know is your proprietary knowledge, and we're giving you a safe place to put your proprietary knowledge, but we can't guess it. You've got to find it. So go and get your proprietary knowledge together and then put it in a very safe place and let AI work on it, and you will see something happening within weeks.
Ah, that is fantastic advice. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, that's definitely what business owners should be doing like first. And I love the idea of first helping your team members instead of trying to look how you can replace them, look how you can make their lives easier. Because then your team members will also start taking ownership of AI and start thinking about new ways that they can become more productive. Your company can jump faster, outbid your competitors, start doing the right things more efficiently. And it, instead of being an adversarial relationship, it actually, yeah, you bring it in the right way so that it's seen as a tool and a resource as opposed to a threat.
Yeah, and absolutely. And because remember, by doing this, you're going to grow faster, and you're going to need those people that have that intrinsic knowledge of your business. They are your gold. Don't waste it. Don't threaten them. Help them be part of embedding AI in your business, and you will grow. And you'll need them more than ever. And they need to see that.
Fantastic. That is gold right there. I'm pretty sure that's going to be a snippet. I'm going to turn it into a short. That's beautiful. And then in terms of the next breakthrough, like obviously everyone's talking about AGI and all of that. How do you see the next kind of breakthrough on the horizon that's going to open up AI to, I don't know, you're the expert. Tell me.
Great questions. Multi-agent collaboration is the next frontier. Most businesses are just not prepared for it. Businesses that are using AI are using them as individual tools. They're using them for writing, another one for data, maybe one for coding. And this is where the knowledge piece, this is where what I previously said really comes in. But we're rapidly approaching the point where multiple specialized agents will work together on complex tasks and become like a high-performing team. So imagine we call it a master orchestration agent, which we're just about to release, which is really interesting. So you basically, ask the system for some help, and the system decides which agent you should use. So it doesn't tell you, because you don't want all that cognitive load of having to work out which one should I ask this for, and it's like running around an organisation finding which person and department you should do. Imagine a system where one agent analyzes the customer data, one agent generates product recommendations, a third creates personalized marketing content, a fourth maybe manages delivery and logistics, but they're all talking together. So as long as you organise your data and processes to enable this coordination, you can have an extraordinary advantage really quickly. But it's all linked with this knowledge and banishing the boring. So to prepare, it's all about that whole business of getting your data. Those internal silos that we've created as teams need to vanish because the data needs to merge, but that doesn't mean the people are redundant. It means the people get to do a much better job. So just document how different departments interact and where the handoffs occur. And because what you don't want to do is transfer a linear process to AI. You've got to map it and think, okay, how can this ecosystem work more effectively? And that becomes really interesting. We're working on a number of projects right now where you're looking at storytelling engines for global brands across all operating units. And when you start to break down the compliance and the legal requirements and the brand guidelines and currently how the inefficiencies of how that works, and then you start to map it with AI, it's really, really exciting. But don't get overwhelmed. Think of it as just imagine what good looks like is it's the frustration as a customer of you trying to get an answer and not getting one, or as an employee trying to get an answer and not getting one. And that's the opportunity that AI delivers us, but only if you kind of are happy to stop and say, right, let's put our information in the right place and let's think about business slightly differently. But the opportunities are just jaw-dropping and they make our lives better.
Yeah, 100%. Wow. Yeah. Thanks so much for that. Then looking at, I know you mentioned people don't need 35 different tools. They need one tool that really understands them. And kind of building on that idea, what do you see the next 3 to 6 years looking like with AI?
So it makes me smile. I think in 3 to 5 years, you won't, there are lots of companies that are, something AI, something AI, something AI. And the standalone AI tools that we are using today will disappear into the background of business operations, just like you don't say, when I'm turning on the light switch, I'm using electricity. Because it's just essential. You just turn on the lights. You don't say, I'm using electricity to turn on the lights. So AI will just become essential but unnoticed until it's missing. So if you haven't got it, you'll be like, well, that's a bit rubbish, isn't it? Because the lights don't come on, or I don't get my question answered immediately. So imagine that your business will have an AI twin, a digital version of everything. It knows your history, it understands your goals, it operates according to your values. And this twin just won't respond to requests. It will proactively identify the risks before they're obvious. At the moment, you've got to run your financials and then read them and then make a decision, and it all happens over a really long time frame. Imagine if that can happen faster. How much better business can be. So I think the interface will evolve from typing to much more natural conversation. You imagine every call that we all have to take calls and update our CRM, and that just hurts your head. Imagine if the call was transcribed and the meeting you said you'd book and the task you set and the proposal you talked about was done when you put the phone down. Wouldn't that be amazing? That's what will happen in 3 to 5 years. Imagine walking to a meeting and finding everybody's already got a brief that's based upon the participants, the projects, the likely topics, and it's all drafted up afterwards. I think goes back to that, my favourite saying right now: AI will banish our boring, and the companies that succeed will be those that embrace that fastest. Simple as that.
That sounds like heaven. It's beautiful.
Yeah, and that's why we're building maybe as a platform that becomes more unique to each business. So over time, the more information you give it, the more tailored it is for you. So you asked me at the beginning, what does it do? Well, what maybe does is it maybe helps you make decisions. It maybe takes the maybe out of doing business, because rather than being one size fit all, it learns to be you. It learns to help you fill in the gaps. It learns to do the stuff that actually as humans we can't do.
Wonderful. Yeah. So if someone listened to this and they really love it, they want to get started with maybe how do they get started today?
Go to maybetech.com and hit the get started button. There's a self-serve solution. If you're a Goliath that wants our team to come in and make magic happen, we'll pick you up and come and talk to you about that as well. But if you're a startup, there's a very affordable option to get started. And we look forward to helping you do your best work faster.
Oh, fantastic. And if I want to follow your journey, how do I do that? Which is the best channels?
Probably my LinkedIn channel. So go and find Polly Barnfield on LinkedIn. We are Maybe Tech is on Facebook, Insta, and X. But yeah, probably my LinkedIn profile is more active than anything else. It's one of those things that it's plumbers and leaky taps, isn't it? We don't want to deliver acres of the same, and so we have actually got a very big project that we're about to start releasing on our social channels around the 500 interviews we've conducted. So yeah, go check us out. I'm Polly Barnfield on LinkedIn, and look for We Are Maybe Tech on Insta, and you'll start to see something very exciting being revealed very shortly.
Oh, fantastic. I know we've had some discussions, and from the stuff that you're about to release, it sounds like it's really going to be transformative. And I think not just every big business, like every small business should have this, because this is going to transform how small businesses compete with big businesses. Like they used to say that it's the digital transformation, and because you can run ads, like it's on the same level. You can't fulfill on the same level. Like you don't have the resources to have someone there 24/7 to hand out support. You don't have the resources. You don't have a whole department that can sift through information and give a response, and as informed a response in such a short time. So this is really going to transform how small businesses compete on a larger scale.
Absolutely. Well said, that man. That's a clip. I'll have that one.
Awesome. And then I think lastly, if there's a business owner sitting still a little bit hesitant about getting started with AI, what advice would you give them?
Get on with it. Honestly. Honestly, it's just like, you know how, so 20 years ago people said, I'm not sure the internet will be a thing. Let me tell you now, AI is a thing. It's not going anywhere. Don't be scared of it. It really can help each of your team be better. And more importantly, if you don't start to think how AI works in your business, be aware that the next generation leaving school at university right now will be an AI first generation. So if you want to hire the right talent, you want to have smart people in your business, you need to understand how AI is going to work for you, because the next generation of great people are going to be AI first. So yeah, it's really important. And people matter. Just remember that AI knows what we already know. Does that make sense? So in order for us to have good new ideas, you need great people. But those great people won't work with you unless you're already using AI, because they'll understand its power. And I think that's really important.
Oh, that is, yeah, A players choose you just as much as you choose them. So if you're a company that's stuck in the dark ages, like the ostrich putting its head in the sand, like they're not going to go, I'm going to go there because I'm going to be able to live up to my potential. They want to see you as a cutting edge. You're pushing the boundaries, you're innovative, you think outside the box, because that's where A players thrive, right?
Yeah, don't be the business walking along with the red flag in front of the car. You're going to be driving the Ferrari.
And then maybe we'll make sure that it's safe.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but please, 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 regardless of what solution you choose, make sure your secrets are safe. Do not put your company data in an unsafe space. That's, all joking aside, that's your value of your business. Do not put that in an unsafe place. That's why we take security incredibly seriously.
Fantastic. Polly, thank you so much for your time today. I think you've shared some really incredible insights. It was fantastic speaking with you. I don't know if there's anything that you would like to add that we haven't covered. It feels like we've covered the whole spectrum, but yeah, any last words?
No, thanks, Jack. Great podcast. It's a pleasure to talk to somebody else that understands the AI journey is one that needs to be embraced. And yeah, thank you. Delight to be here, and we're here to help.
Awesome. Looking forward to following your journey. I think you're going to be doing some amazing things.
Thanks, Jack.